Hello, everyone. I'm back, and this is just part two. So, earlier I was talking about how AI and technologies have been integrated into our personal lives, and technology is steadily advancing. Of course, over the years, the nuances have changed, or people have not been as privy to the things or the changes in the past as they are today, and that is steadily increasing as well. Some paid subscriptions as far as learning about technologies, what they do, the features on several platforms allow you more insight to what's happening on technologies and the way that you can use it. So that being said, now from a point of view, a general point of view, if you are the user of any type of subscription and you have, and this is in any situation, allowed yourself to participate by using features of subscriptions and all, then yes, you are the doer of the action that has been done and submitted from your account. However, like everything, it's all not always all inclusive, and I do not call myself the what can I say? I don't say, don't hate the message, hate the messenger, hate the message. No, I don't think that is, I'm playing the devil's advocate. No, because everything that is opposite of what is good is not the devil unless somebody is actually imposing that or subjecting that on someone. That is the devil. But the information about the details or the implications are not the devil. So I'm not a devil's advocate or anything. I do not look down on anybody's invention and whatever they're able to do, their contributions to the world. I do not have reason to be to really try to take be a lackluster for anybody at all. That is not my point. The point is that we live in this world and we need to try to understand how things work. And the more that we know about things, especially when they're going to have a great impact as to us directly, each person directly, the better the chances are that we are able to find some leverage to use it properly. And the more fairness that we put out there, I believe that will return to us as well. There's an antagonist. Sometimes it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong because sometimes, as far as I will fall back on this quote that I heard. Okay, I'm not sure what fallback is, but I will refer to this quote that I heard from Warren Buffett. Somebody is always trying to steal the castle. It doesn't matter how much you have or how little you have. Everybody has a gift. Everybody has something that is important and great, innate about them that is a specific quality designed only for them. Anybody can imitate it and try to put a spin on certain things that you do or feel like they've done it better, but there's always an audience for you. You are important, period. So that being said, I this is not my point to say, okay, they're good or they're bad. But with details and facts, we could decide whether that is the truth or not. And especially with extra input from the culprit, whomever it may be, or whatever it may be. So this particular uh, talk or discussion that I'm having, or just this installment of mine, I'm just saying, not just saying, but I'm mentioning the glitches that could occur. For instance, I just had a glitch not too long ago where I was using the app that I had been using for years. All of a sudden, it decided to glitch and send money to multiple people. I didn't even manually pick the people. The system decided to just randomly send my money to three different people. So the problem with that was the one that was automated system to automated system. It wasn't a brain on the other side saying, I'm going to keep your money. But we have brains on the other side of some of these systems, and the transaction that happened with actual human that had a brain, they decided to keep the money. So it's as we can see on the side of technology and people, anybody can being good or bad is up for grabs. To tell you the truth. For me, I would have automatically sent the money back. I don't care how hard up I felt like I was for it. I would not want to have some money from somebody who did not want to give it to me. And I don't know their hardships or what their plans are as far as what to follow up. And what's more, um, is spiritually, what is taking place as what kind of chain have they started connecting by doing that or by doing this. So yeah, I would have sent it back. So it was kind of like a why? There is no is as far as I believe, if you know you did not receive money correctly, send it back. Send it back. Because you always have to look over your shoulder, even if you don't have to look for that person over your shoulder. Karma. Let's talk about karma. So in the wave of grand scheme of things, it's bound to revisit you. So make your amends, pay your dues, and say whatever it is that you want to say. Now, most of the time when I did my transactions, period, any of my transactions, I made sure that I looked for, you know, um, if I felt like it was something tugging, I would look and find and ask, do the research and ask. For instance, it doesn't matter if it was a small transaction, 2 cents to $2,000 or whatever. I always, if I felt a tug, and even if I was trying to, for instance, um, when the PPP loans things was coming out, everybody just jumped on it. I remember this guy. He went to, I think he went to jail or prison because he made a front. He went and bought a whole bunch of lavish things, and he applied for this loan, and he didn't have a real business. Now, what I think his intentions was to look the part, to fake it until he make it type of deal, but he didn't look at the implications in that to make him to really qualify him for what he was doing, and that's why they messed him up. And he probably wasn't able to articulate it that way. But before I asked for a PP loan, I said, if any of my qualifications do not meet your requirements, do not sign me up for anything because I only want what is supposed I can legally have. And if that means I don't get anything, I don't want it. I wouldn't want the trouble far exceeds um it's more it's worse to have the trouble than to be without the money to me. Yes. So sometimes over explaining and it's saying that when you do sign up, it'll save you from a world of trouble. Just think of it. You had a nice dream and a fantasy with that, but when you try to prove something to somebody else, and it doesn't make sense for you to prove it to them, and they might not even be watching or they don't care either way, then it probably won't be good. Now, so I signed up for some. Let me get back to technology. All of that is a part of it because they had electronic applications that you could sign up, but don't just do the applications if you think it's something else attached. Do call them and tell them, say, I didn't understand, or I was doing this or that, and I was trying to, because some of these applications, they have, what do you call it? Simulations attached. Like if you do, I had a account where you could do a simulation on your credit checks and stuff like that. So I did a simulation of the credit check, and some of these equipments that you can use for finances and all, they have places where you can do simulations. So just ask the questions. It was a good dream. It's a good dream, but no. So people on the other end, some people just everywhere. They just out to get you. So the whole thing is, I believe, is to squelch it as much as possible, and don't drive yourself insane. Make amends. Apologize. Don't do take the next step if you don't feel it that you should, and just go ahead and call and find out what you can do. And if it's take you a while to get where you're going, it'll be worth it because you'll have that time to do that. Um, and I'm telling you, I had a time where I had to do a say a fu to somebody. And it's not business wise. It was just in general, and that was not a proud moment for me. And but I could see in hindsight, I had apologized to the person. If I had got with other people on the side, they would have said, "Yeah, you had a reason to," but I don't really think it's ever a reason to. I think when people do that, it's just them basically feeling themselves. Before the song came out, "Feeling Yourself," I actually wrote that on one of my posts on a site in like 2007, something like that. Because I took a nice picture and I was feeling myself, but I didn't mean it the way that the song came out. And I know that post is in history, and I didn't take a suggestive picture. I was just saying, I like the way my hair looked that day. That's what I meant by it. But yeah, I was reminded of that too because it was a lot of little coincidences where I could have really, so to speak, bossed up on my business in pride and foolishness and boasting and all of that. But I rather, if I have to be in private and not trying to score with people, most of the time people that are put in these such status quos or placed in competitions against each other, A-listers, B-listers, the people that are thinking about it are the people who are making up the list. The people that are actually living it, they're not really thinking about this. Only reason why they think about it is because it becomes a formality of their job. So, back again to the technology. And it's weird. I'm talking about different dynamics and various subjects and all, and they're all connected by internet because we can see any aspect of anything that I'm talking about displayed on the internet through stories and experiences that people are sharing now. So back to that. Um, yeah. mm, mm, mm. Yeah. It wasn't worth it. I feel bad for the guy because I feel like he really had good intentions in this life. There's so many things that are fake it till you make it type of aspect, and people really don't know what that really means, and they start to apply these types of things, and it gets them caught up. Now, I think some of the guidelines probably should have been explained to people, and it should have been some more considerations because for people that probably was oppressed, they're going to try to um, get a business because this is the only time it really has been in their face and kind of like black and white for them to try it. It still wasn't worth it, but they probably, I don't know, it was a whole bunch of things that probably could have been going through their mind. He really looked like he believed that he had an actual business. And I really believed that he was going to actually open the business, but he just didn't understand all the dynamics of it and he wasn't able to. So it was very unfortunate. Um, and what can I say? Well, back to the implications. Sometimes the businesses have a glitch. Sometimes there is fine lines that people are not reading because it's not in their face, or sometimes they really don't expect it to be there because they feel like they have more confidence in the news that they've heard that they go ahead forth with that. But there was a glitch in that system, so nothing is perfect, and that person that the money was sent to still had today took his fingers and manually declined to refund my money. I just tried again. That's why I was like, wow, this is terrible. But he's not me. He don't think like me. And maybe the karma won't come back to him as much as me as quickly as it would me because I would feel convicted by it. But I just really don't see it. It would make me vomit. Now, if he had returned it, I'd probably try to give him a little percentage of it because he wouldn't have to, or he could have simply said to me, "I'm struggling. I need to keep this if you don't mind." And it would have been money that I could not afford, but I know he would be basically telling me, "I don't want to send the money back," even if he was lying. But even an explanation like that, I think it would have turned out a little bit better for what he's about visiting spiritually, or whether it, in either way. Um, I haven't been perfect, but these are reasons why you should quickly repent, because um, you just don't want karma to revisit you like that. If time and chance do happen to people, which it does, I think the best feeling to have in the situation is if you really wasn't the one that sparked the flame, if you didn't start the crowd, if you didn't deserve whatever it was, if yeah, that part is the part that I would be concerned with. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes there are glitches in the websites. I have one right now that over and over again I had to close my information to the specific subscription because they were charging me um anytime they felt like it, just charging me extra money throughout the month. And I had forgotten about that because I was trying to be nice to them. Again, I was like, I'm sorry, but inside I was like, hey, don't pretend that, don't forget. But I did really forgive them, and I'm not. I think they had changed the personnel, so I was trying to not have that kind of thoughts in the back of my mind again anymore. So yeah, it's some crazy, crazy stuff. Now, on the other side, there are parameters where people just have to protect themselves altogether. Again, I had a customer that purchased something for me. They purchased something from me. They, what can I say? What did they do with it? Modified it, which is against policy, took a picture of what they modified, sent it to me, and told me this is what's wrong with it. And they expected to get their money back with me having a broken product. And it was against policies on both sides. One side, customer is not supposed to modify anything. And the other side, if the customer does modify it, you don't have to return the money because the product is not for sale anymore. But sometimes I think there is some ways where sometimes customers can be a little bit spoiled, especially if you know you did something purposefully like that, and you meant it to steal the money from them. You meant to do that. Um, on the other side, yeah, that was wrong. That was dirty and wrong. But sometimes the customers, they take the customer side, and take the customer side, and they close my account for that, even though I showed them the pictures, I showed them all of that. So you don't have to be a swindler to have accounts closed. Period. Sometimes they just close it, and some people are so crafty they know how to call in and report lies just because they want to trip you up some kind of way. So I don't know the person. I don't know why they would do that, but the same product they tried to mess up, I had several attestations over the years because they were purchased brand new. And everybody who walked with me while I had this product, they knew it was in new condition when they were submitted. So, I mean, I could have gone deeper with the evidence, but my account was closed for that. So, um, I think everything is case by case, and it's always, more than one side. And sometimes if there's more evidence, and sometimes it's just the resources that the company has. And but if you can make amends and you find out that even though it's policies and stuff like that, the relationship between the customer and the seller, if you can fix those type of situations, then by all means do so. But if you have a customer that is really lying to you and you know it, they might not be a good friend, even if you did want to mend the relationship with them. But if you wanted to just be nice or kind or give them a good gesture, even so, and you do that, then I think that's great if you can afford to do it. But when small businesses are starting out and I'm selling my own product, that is not okay. Um, Yeah, so that happened a couple of times, and my accounts was closed for that. Even that had been there, I think, maybe 3, 4 years, and that was the first time that ever happened. I don't know what was said in order for that to take place, but I was still in good standing, and I really don't understand that. But those were the days. Those were probably about 10, 15 years ago, something like that. And the policies or the considerations have kind of been a little bit more flexible. Now there are more ways to prove that you have no to offer proof. And then, at the end of the day, whatever the features are, and you know that they have gone to the highest tier of sorting out whatever is happening in the situation, that you are able to just be all right with that, that they did everything they could do in the situation. But sometimes people on either end take advantage. For instance, if a company knows, oh, they go to this, and oh, they don't want to look a certain way, the person doesn't want to have a stigma attached to them, so we're going to show them this, and they're going to be think they're cheap, or they just don't want to pay or something like that. Then they don't want to look like that. Especially if it's a lot of people that go ahead. No, don't stand for that. Because if every dime you make is important for you to make, then every dime that you spend is important for you to spend, and you should treat it as such. I believe either way, you're being a good or a bad steward. So if you think you can throw away pennies just because the something want to pretend that you can do that, I think that's wrong. You're doing yourself an injustice. Even though I have done it before, um, I've done it before because I've paid for some services. They weren't giving me what I needed and what I expected. And I was like, wait, I'm not being bamboozled. I'm not, okay, I'm paying, okay. And steadily, I'm having the same trouble for about maybe 2 or 3 years. And it wasn't until I had an interruption um, that I was like, I'm in my funds, that I said, wait, this got to work, because now every penny really does count. And when I call and find out it actually does count, the company has a prop set up so they can protect themselves instead of actually giving the customer what they paid for. So, yeah, time and chance happens to everyone. I don't feel bitter about any of those things anymore, period. When it happened, I dealt with it. I spoke. I did what I was supposed to. I offered all of the information that was right there in their database, and they was privy to. And whatever each person decided in the situation, that is just what they have to deal with. If you have a customer that buys something from a small business and they try to send it right back, but they've already modified it, they're not supposed to receive money back, because you don't know what they actually did to your product, and it's not sellable anymore. Had some, go in and change the passwords because for whatever reason. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Think you pay me the money, you change the password, and I'm just supposed to say, oh, I can't ever get to my product again, and you want the money, but you forget the password, and you want no, I can't sell it anymore. So when I had a discussion with the company, they said, yes, this is true. And they saw all of our communications, but they still closed my account. So that was then, but I've seen a lot of changes now, where there is a better communication and line of communication that's set up with them. And it's like, wait, I don't have this to give right back to you, because it was a brand new part. Like, I went in the store and bought the product in a box, brand new. Only reason why I didn't want to keep the product was because I was accustomed to different type of use that it didn't have, but it had some updated features, and it was on the market for, I think, $1,000 more than I even charged. I think probably about $1,000 to $2,000 more than I even charged. And they knew this, but they modified it and tried to send it back. So time and chance really does happen to everyone. Sometimes you might see some person doing this and you feel like, oh, this and that, and This is why this you don't even know everything. You can't figure your own stuff out. How are you going to figure out somebody else because you think of what things they have around them or what, things they bought? Really no way. You have to really sometimes know the person. Sometimes it's what they have to do to deal with whatever they need to deal with in their own lives. But it's not always just because, they bad. They're bad. They're this, they're that. It's people in your life as well. No matter what level you are, they see some light in you. They see something in you that they want. And they um if they see sometimes they see a light in you that they can't understand, they can't explain, but they feel like you could have done something more materialistic with this light. They're going to try to copy you and show you what you're supposed to be doing, showing you how you're supposed to do your business. Now, if you're the type of person that feel like you compare yourself with, you're going to be really downtrodden because this person is trying to compare themselves to you. All I know, the most disappointment I feel is like, wow, this person I can't ever be friends with. I can't ever be friends with this person because they think I'm stupid. Or they don't, instead of giving me kudos when I'm out here branding myself, they're out here trying to steal and one up me instead of going into business for them. They um we probably don't trust each other, and we're not building some way to leverage that, but they rather steal from me than to be my cheerleader when I'm always a cheerleader for everyone. Now, that doesn't even I don't even feel anything when I say that because um it doesn't I said what I said so they know whether they did right by me or they don't. They know whether they did right or wrong by me, and that's their own weight to deal with. I don't need to have that on my heart. So, if I say I usually, put my disclaimer on things and um yeah, and so, you did me right, you did me wrong. But most of the time, some people feel like, they like to have putty. And if you feel like putty to them, they're going to grab you like one of those relaxation squishy balls. They're going to try to anyway. And anytime their environment is giving them heck, they're going to come and try to do that with you. And guess what? You can say no, no, and you don't even have to say it. Just don't be that. And if you know it, they keep if they keep doing things and you know just not even really for the pride purpose, not saying you to boast and you better than that and all of this kind of stuff, but God wants you to say, okay, I'm a child of God, I have brain, this is not right. You everybody can do whatever they want to, but it's not right. And I have to say something because if I'm supposed to love my enemy, if I'm supposed to love people in general, it's not love to make somebody think they're doing right when you know they're doing wrong and you waiting for hangman to happen. No, you say, hey, this was wrong. As this was wrong. And sometimes it saves people from injury because they might say, okay, that was wrong. Yeah, I know it was wrong, and they stopped doing it before they hanged themselves. So guess what? Now they're back on the side of light, and they've saved themselves. So I'd rather feel like that than to say, "All right, I'm waiting. God knows what you did to me. I'm gonna wait to." And you might be waiting. You don't know when your day is ending. You have that on your heart in that moment. It's always time to repent. So sitting up looking for somebody's destruction that you have no control over their life or not, you wasting your time. You causing yourself stress. You might feel like it's playing because everybody is many people are on the side of shade room, but that doesn't mean that you're right, and that doesn't mean that it's not causing you stress. 9 times out of 10, I bet if you went and took a stress test, if you said if you got into the energy that you have to muster up to do these mischievous things, I guarantee you that'll be stress. It'll show up as stress, and a bad stressor as that. Because if you can't control anybody's life when they conveniently tell you you can't control everything that people do, that's the truth for every aspect. You just really cannot control. If you give somebody some measures, features of control, and they decide that they believe it, then yes. But if they don't believe it and they know it's not, you cannot you cannot. And even if they do believe it, they have to believe it in order for it to work. If they don't believe it, it's no basis for it. So I believe just even if those considered random thoughts, those types of things that people manipulate their mind to do all the time, is what could cause some mental stress, sociopaths and all such. And thinking about doing bad things, saying they believe in karma, just because they can hide what is unseen, they feel like who would be the wiser if it came back to them or not. Some people do not even meet a demise on the planet, and it looks like they're living gloriously. But only they know in those quiet moments when they are alone, and everybody will be alone, at least even if it's for a second, because nobody can be with a person every waking moment of the day, period. I don't care if you with somebody 24 hours of the day. When they go to the restroom, they're by themselves. And trust me, I think you want to be. But when they go to the restroom, they by themselves. When they close their eyes, you might want to appear in their dreams, but you cannot. You can't say, "Okay, I want to be in there tonight." And even if you was a person and astral projecting that kind of stuff, there's a limit to that too. So if you're doing bad things on purpose and you want it to do something bad, it's going to come back that way. Um, Only thing that can stop it is genuine and honest repentance, and only God knows whether you do that or not. So right now, anything I thought, I think, I will think in the future, Lord, would you please forgive me? Because I would tell you, sometimes I have said, even if it's out of your name, I don't care if you were, um, what can I say? If you were a little bit fluffy and I said, hey, you're chocolate cake or whatever, like a bad chocolate cake, that's wrong. It don't have to necessarily be pejorative language. It's just thinking um, in a get back way, or, a comeback way. You could think for a minute, oh, I should have called him the name. I should have said that. And it's like a good feeling in the moment because you release some energy. So this year, I think I haven't done that too much, but somebody was tapping on my nerve, like tap dancing, like Steve, what's his name? Sammy Davis' grandson. I never said that, but I started to think that more when I was hanging around the person because they're the person that like to say that a lot. So, I mean, oh my lamb. Um, and it wasn't all of the time. It just was a spur of the moment because decided I won't let that linger. But I know I'm human, so I'm going to experience that sometime. But the point that the person actually just wanted to do that all the time, I was like, okay, God, I give it to you because they're trying to do too much, and I'm not going to try to follow it. I'm giving it to God. That's only something that God can follow. Um, and I just let it be. So take the stressors off your heart and realize that, yes, we are impacted by business and interaction and technologies and AI, but you are important. So let's start to give our votings some more consideration in the area of communications, FCC devices, and um, implications like that because they do matter. They're making a lot more changes in our world than some of the primary election um, um, issues are because many of those actions that they're taking in that arena are because of the ability or are related to the abilities that they can do. of the features they can have with the use of technology. And those two have to work together. So, if we see something that we feel could be changed a little bit, if no one ever says anything, um, and you don't have to go out with your arms up and everybody doing all kind of weird stuff to move and shift and make seems like it's you're the lion in the jungle type of deal. But just to really tell the truth, bring some hardcore facts and discuss about how you want to be treated in the future. This is more than one type of relationship that is important. And with such of these types of things having so many implications in our lives, I think it's time that we really determine what's happening. And oh, okay, next topic. Here's the next topic because I'm a marriage and family therapist at heart. I actually did attend a university at a PhD level in marriage and family therapy. And prior to that, I studied a little bit. I had psychology, sociology, and I studied. And I believe I really like this. Number one is because it's the primary relationship by which God manifests his relationship with the church. Um, Now, that being said, a term that I have not coined, and I'll find out more history behind it, micro cheating. Now they have a name for it. Micro cheating. It's probably been out for a while, but I just um, watched it. I just looked over it because I was like, okay, mental health is rising. Technology use is continually advancing, and we merge in those two areas every day. And divorce rates are climbing, and finance issues are rising, and there are two common reasons why these relationships are splitting. One is finances, the other is because of extramarital relationships. Hmm. So, first point is for people who are like minded. If you believe that when you come together and you become one in flesh, then I think it's good to water that plant and treat each other like you want to be treated, literally, um, and nurture the relationship. So if you're finding makeshift relationships to make up for something that you don't have in your relationship off the bat, you all will never see the deepest aspect of love and enjoyment in your relationship. Because if you're trying to build a bear, you have to actually have a toy to build a bear with. Because a person is going to be limitations. They're going to say, hey, wait a minute, that part doesn't fit, and I know it doesn't. Get that out of here. And that part may be you because you're bringing a lot of craziness into the relationship, trying to pretend it doesn't exist, but yet you're watering a plant every day. For instance, if you don't have the most loving wife or the most loving husband, and instead of going to counseling, he doesn't agree to go to counseling, you don't agree, and you're tired of just waiting because it's weighing you down, there's no leverage and all that. So you go to the internet and someone is telling you you're handsome and you're beautiful every day, and they sending you sweet pictures and love notes. Realize that you didn't sign up to marry them and they got it right. They don't really know you like this person knows you. Or you are introducing yourself differently to them because you have discovered another part of you. Instead of saying, okay, this is a foothold for the enemy to walk in, you don't walk to counseling with your wife because that's crazy, or your husband, but yet you walk to a non-professional person to stroke your ego, and they probably got the same issues that you have. That's why they're there. So these types of things, and then the denial after that. Oh, you know what? Look, that person's on a TV. They're on a picture screen. So am I. I'm on a picture screen right now. I don't have $1 million. So if their image can impact my household, what is the point? If you're a real person on the other side, of the television screen or the computer screen, it is no longer impossible or fathomable to think. Unfathomable. It's not. It's fathomable. I got to look at that word, revisit fathom again. But you could fathom the possibility of encountering or meeting this person. I just saw Janet Jackson. She hugged a so-called man, just a regular gentleman that's out here in the public, no claim to fame. His sons decided to take him to. She was on this man like this was her man. She hugged him from while he was standing in the back, put her arms and every part of her on him. This is not impossible. So while you're pretending that, hey baby, you ain't gonna never see him. When he's talking about or she's talking about chest, legs, arms, whatever, you all need to be very comfortable with that. You can actually deal with that to the core of your being where it's healthy. If not, stop doing it. And if you cannot stop doing it and you're telling that person they're crazy because this is a computer, but you can't stop doing it, you're crazy too. So both you all need to go to counseling together. If you wasn't crazy or crazy about that, then you could stop doing it. If she could stop talking about it and it doesn't mean anything, how does it um, become an asset in your relationship? So yeah, that there is micro cheating. So emotional cheating, yes. The reason why emotional cheating, let's think about it. Why do you even come together in the first place initially? Because you what? Feel something. What is a feeling? Emotion. So if you feel the same thing for someone else at the same capacity and it's inappropriate to your relationship, then you might be emotionally cheating. Mm. And if the feelings were not important, why are you out here doing whatever you feel and you don't care about the other person's feelings? Why is it when you all have an issue, they're in their feelings because it matters. So stop playing games with yourself. There's so many ways we could twist it and manipulate each other, but ultimately I think people are really doing some mind play with themselves these days. Somebody people are driving themselves crazy, trying not to be crazy. But the problem is they care more about what people think externally instead of actually taking a deeper dive spiritually and saying I'm important inside and out. I know you like looking at me. I know you like the warmness you feel when you look at me or whatever, but it's more to that. There's more to that. Like it's got to be more to that. It's more to life. Will that person care about you if you were sick? If you were sick and you um um were having some symptoms from being sick, are they going to be grossed out and they can't take it and they leave you sick and they have to come back? Um if you were tired of your long hair and tired of this or and you cut your hair off, will they still love you? If you took wiped off all of your beauty, so to speak, your makeup that makes you look different than other people, and you wiped all of it off, will they leave you, start looking for somebody else? If you was a person that had short hair when you all met and you grew your hair long, will they leave you? If you was a person that intentionally took care of yourself but you got sick so you got overweight, would they leave you? So those types of things, it's more than just that. This is why I believe relationships mess up. And a fairy tale, let's unpack the fairy tale. So we always, many people is quick to say, I want that fairy tale wedding or that fairy tale life. Did you remember that the prince had to fight for his queen in that fairy tale? That there was monsters and dragons and dark spaces and weird things that was happening, and they always had to fight to be together. And many people did not want them to be together. And it looked odd for them to be together. And they always had an opposition through the whole story. And the only reason why it turned out to be a fairy tale is because in the end, all of those things stopped. So maybe you want a fairy tale ending, but I don't think you want a fairy tale. And you want the fairy tale ending to be how your marriage is for the entirety. But remember all of the trouble that it and the work that it takes to get to that. So me, I don't want a fairy tale anything. I want what is made for me, and what I discuss and what I expect according to what we compromise on, and we're being realistic about it. No facade, period. So that doesn't look like being sarcastic, and you could tell me off, and just because it's a cute little quip with everybody else, it don't feel right to me, but I'm accepting it because everybody else said it's cute. No, if it don't feel right to me and it's bugging me, I'm just going to tell you. And if you rather be sign up for the vernacular of everybody else because it makes you feel good, and you don't care that you don't care how I feel about it. Go ahead and have your lovely party over there, but you're not going to keep on disturbing my peace, um, because it's unnecessary. Everybody has a good place eternally, internally, where they can have just a glorious time. And the reason why I think some people drag others is because they don't want to look at themselves in the mirror. Say, okay, I made a mistake. I may not be able to do all of these things, or, you know, I played with your feelings and I really am sorry. Or, for whatever reason, just tell the truth and give each person a fair advantage in the relationship. That's why I say tell the truth and give people a fair advantage. If you hanging on just to look like you're important, you don't know what the value of yourself is. You have to understand that you're valuable with or without a person. But when you're with that person, you should be valuing the person too. And they should be just as important as you are. And whatever you all decide to do between each other, be loyal to that. Um, I watched this one relationship disintegrate just because this lady was trying to fight feminism when it wasn't really feminism in her relationship. It was an agreement that she made with her husband. But I think she was a little afraid because the people she was hanging out with didn't celebrate her marriage the way it was. They were saying it was antiquated and that she got to listen to her husband. Darn right. Who is really going to be able to give you what you need? Yes, you should listen to your husband. That's an important. That's who you live with, who you made it a pact with, a very important pact. And yeah, if he's not going out and you're not going out, and that's what you all decide before them, then if you want to change that, have a conversation with them. Go to therapy or something like that if you really need this in your life and you all decide if it's going to be something that both of you can accept. But just rip and run with somebody else, then you might be the problem. Um, so some people do just need someone to stand alongside them and help them with their purpose. So when you do are that type of person, then you need to make sure that your person is okay. If they're supposed to be on your team, you got to take care of the team, no matter if they're quiet or if they're quietly standing by you, but you know that they're going to be loyal to you, then you should take care of your team. But if you're out trying to separate yourself in so many pieces, then guess what? You got all of those pieces to take care of, and you really can't be for one person because then you have to fragment yourself. And if that's what you decided, then tell the person so they can have and be fair by them once you're not together. But it's great when people can make it that simple, but sometimes they can't because there's so many different feelings and processes they have to go through, and it's rarely anybody who can be totally truthful. Some people just say, "You know what? I'm tired of you talking about this. I don't really care what season it is in your life." So they don't really say that this opinion is based solely on them. Don't want to hear it no more. Is it's yeah, you should do this. Look at all of this, and now they'll make up a whole story so you can separate yourself from that, just so they won't hear it anymore. But anytime they want to blabber and say all kind of disrespectful stuff, you think they think you're supposed to stand right there ready to hear it. Why? Because they can say it. No other reason. So yeah, if you are for your relationship, don't be ashamed about it and have some conversations with them. They're not trying to control you because you have conversations with them. They're not trying to control you because you're having a compromise. But if you're going to be loyal to your girls or loyal to your boys, and you all can never have the kind of relationship that you're trying to build with the opposite sex, then you need to think about you can't treat those relationships the same. They're different. They're not. There are going to be some nuances that are different because it's a different relationship. It has different aspects to it. So if you try to make them both one thing, the only thing that's supposed to be one thing if you're married is you and your spouse, your person. So if you all can't get on one accord, it's really no thing that you have. You don't have nothing. So um yeah, I built all of that from micro cheating. So micro cheat, I've seen people go through this. It's really heart wrenching. Um um it's kind of good that people have a conversation because you're not going to find anything that's perfect in life, period. But if you see some imperfections and you can't help except to be condescending and sarcastic and do not care about the feelings of the other person, you don't love that person. You don't love that person. Here's why. If you go to your job, you're going to be really careful about what you say to your manager. Do you love money more than you love your spouse? Well, if you do, then don't tell your spouse that they love more money more than they love you, because both of you all on the same thing. And that's the only reason why you wouldn't say what you say to your boss. Not because they're such a great person all of the time. Some people have amazing bosses. I had some excellent managers and bosses, but the ones that don't, it's because you want to keep your money in your pocket, and it's understandable. But at the same time, the world is not going to design itself to calm your crazy. You have to fix that. So if you know that you're taking that into your household, then you should try to fix it and make time for it. Make time to fix it. And if you don't, be honest. I can't commit like I said I was going to commit. And let's be fair to each other moving forward and really do that. And I think the world would be a better place. I really think if people could do that, sorry, if people could do that, they'll find their person quicker. I think so. When they're trying to move on, they won't have to do some rebounds and all kind of stuff like that. Um, and most of the time, a person is looking for rebounds because they've actually been hurt abruptly and they don't know how to process it, or they don't have time to process it, or they feel like whatever they were comfortable with or accustomed to, they need to hurry up and feel it because they don't want to think about not having it anymore. And it just develops some habits that they probably don't want, or they probably decide to keep. Either way, but I think if people decide to be fair, at least when their person comes, they might deserve to be with a good person. or it may heighten their awareness so they'll be able to see whether or not this next person that's trying it is actually the person for them or not. So, yeah, good things beget good things. So it's like hurt people hurt people. That's what they say. Hurt people, and I think that's actually true. And the reason is maybe people don't unpack what they really heard about, or some trying to steer away from stigmas, but still keep part of the person, but steer away from stigmas without any type of actually connective tissue, so to speak. Um, yeah, realistic connective tissue to, gel it together on a reasonable basis. That's probably the issue. I know I have my phone somewhere. This thing is buzzing all day. But yeah, be mindful, people, of how we navigate with our new developments here in this world. Because believe me, they are minding you. So I'm going to end this with like what I usually say. I went all over the world and back again with this, but it's all connected. All of these things impact our lives. They're a part of our lives. And at one point or another, we are implying these things online and looking for ways to resolve them, find out more about them, or in some way, directly or indirectly, they're connected to the technology in our lives. So, what I always say is that God made you for a specific purpose that only you can fulfill. You can be imitated but not duplicated. And it does not matter if anyone was ever lived, expired, or was what is transformed, not transformed. I forgot my word. Reincarnated. If reincarnation were ever a thing, they could never be you. They could never serve the purpose that God made for you to serve here on this planet. So if you open your eyes, even for a millisecond, lay those weapons down against yourself. That means no stressors, no comparisons, no having a downward or outlook, depressive outlook on yourself, having full self confidence and knowing that God thought you mattered enough to still be here and fulfill your purpose. Take whatever window of opportunity that is and get out of the madness and be able to thrive and serve God and others with the purpose that God has gifted you with. You are important. Get off that ledge. Get off the ledge. Put the weapons down towards yourself. You have something to do here, and let the Lord guide you. Just be truthful, go forth, and do what the Lord tells you to do. Be amazing. Have an amazing weekend. Talk to you soon.